Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas. Praz, how you doing this week?
I'm doing very well. I sold HAALAND and I survived. It's basically the summary. I survived for 1 week. We'll see. We go again. But otherwise, all good. You tell me. How's life?
FPL wise, not that great at the moment, Praz. Loads of
Y-
dilemmas for this week, so I'm definitely going to need this discussion with you. But yeah, FPL's been tricky. So unlike you, I kept Haaland,
Right.
and he's dodged all the points. I mean,
He
his XG
has.
was even better. He's been the last 3 games, Praz. If we include even the sporting game, his XG and shots have been through the roof. Like point dodging at another level. Like
Did you see
I
that
know.
chart from XG Philosophy? You know that Twitter handle?
Yeah. I didn't see
That
the chart though, Prez.
Okay, so they tweeted a chart that said XG always catches up with you. You know, like karma always catches up with you. And so it shows a chart between game week 1 to game week
Yeah,
10, his XG and his goals. And you see
yeah,
that in the first 5, he scored 10 goals from 5.5 XG.
yeah,
And in the next 5, he scored 1 goal from 5 XG. So now eventually at this point, he's got about 10 goals with 10 XG.
yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not even sure what to think of that because watching the games, Prez, and then you look at Salah, who had basically a lower XG than him and scored that winner against was it against Brighton? Yes, very excellent goal.
But he also missed that one-on-one. You saw that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't lie to you, Prez. It was a bit of a tricky one because obviously FPL wise, I knew that was going to hurt me, but
I
it's my
know,
team,
I
so I was
know.
like, you know what, I have to enjoy that. So yeah,
These are like the most awkward, and I'm glad in this sense, I'm glad that I support Man United, where nobody buys our players. Even if somebody buys, like last weekend, Bruno scored a penalty. I know a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people have him. I could still celebrate wildly because he's like 1% owned.
yeah, yeah,
And I can imagine, like, there was this double game week when Man United have, when Ronaldo and Bruno both used to play. Remember that one?
yeah.
And I went Ronaldo, and a lot of people had Bruno, and we had already won. It was 2-1, and they were both through on goal. And Bruno could have passed to Ronaldo, and he shot and scored. That was the only time I was like, "What the hell? Why did you do that?" I
Yeah.
would never do that to a Man United goal, but that sometimes
No,
it
but
does take over.
you knew you had won the game as
We
well, I
had won.
suppose.
We had
Press
won. It was just like the
exactly that. So
95th
that
minute.
exactly that. So that takes you can be a bit more
Yeah,
FPL thinking. I'd only ever frown upon that if I caught myself going like say 1-1 and I was upset Salah scored because I didn't
yeah.
own him. Then I'll be
But you
like,
won't.
well,
I mean, we're all
nah,
football fans first,
nah,
right? So that
of
that
course,
instinct never comes. It's only like, oh man, that's not good for FPL. But afterwards. So
yeah,
I mean, we all watch football because we support a team, right? That's the main
exactly
thing.
that. FPL hopefully helps
Oh, it does.
helps the
It does.
experience. Let's just say that helps the
Dude,
football experience.
the Monday game, Fulham versus Brentford,
Oh man,
was the absolute most beautiful game that I would have never watched if I
yes.
didn't play FPL.
Yeah, that was such the finish,
Yeah.
especially. I mean, from my perspective, we're going to come onto my team in a minute, but even that game really annoyed me as well, Praz. But FP, if I went
You
via
don't have
FPL game,
Flecken. You should have been like I was when they scored the second goal. Look, sorry for people who own Flecken, but I celebrated like it was like a return for my own player. So
because he was gonna
he's gonna get
amass
12.
a crazy amount of
Yeah,
points,
yeah.
and the poor Flecken owners, they actually deserved it because every week they're
Hey, I
there.
own Edison. I give no keeper any sympathy.
That's the one position where I'm actually, and we're going to jump into my team right in a minute to run through it. But that's the one position I've been quite fortunate and happy. It's a good pick. But boy, the rest of the team, Praz,
Do you have a
if,
goalkeeper assist, man? You get clean sheets. Look at you. You have
listen,
smashed it.
Praz, but the rest of the Praz, let's go to this team. Come on. So this is my team. This is how we're lining up this week. But I'm also want to discuss a bit of last week. Was a hideous week, and I've had a couple of them this season. But so Sales in goal. He's a good
Hmm.
pick. I'm happy about him. Yes, the fixtures are about to get more difficult. I know, Praz, but as a goalkeeper, Nottingham Forest they're just playing really well at the moment.
They are.
Defensively solid, and him as an individual is playing well as well. So that combination makes me quite happy to have him. And when you've already got a couple of points in the bank from him, I can't complain. It's almost like anything in these difficult fixtures is a bonus. So
Right.
I'm happy there. Trent been not that great recently, and the people that did jump off, you could argue they timed it right because we're conceded in the last couple of games, and the XG's not really been there. Slots kept him obviously much more different. When the games are more difficult, this is not like Klopp. Trent stays back now, and they're his defenders. So that's been a bit frustrating. I'm hoping that can turn as well as the fixtures turn. Decent. Actually, I don't even know if it's a decent fixture, but Aston Villa at home. I'm not sure what to expect there, Prez. Lewis,
Villa were terrible in midweek. I don't know if you saw the game.
I
My
did
son is
see
a
that.
Villa supporter, and
Yeah,
I could see his face. Like they're not doing well.
it was a weird. So you're speaking about the mid?
The
No, you're
midweek
talking
game,
about yeah.
the Club Brugge
Yeah, I'm talking about even the Spurs game. I
Spurs
don't
game
expect to
second half they
Unai
were
Emery.
terrible.
That Praz shocked me, and we need to discuss that as well. But that really shocked me. I don't expect a Unai Emery team to collapse like that. Don't get me wrong. Any team in the Prem can lose.
Hmm.
We know, but that way, the way they collapsed, Praz did shock me. So you're right. This could be well for you that own the Liverpool attackers. This could be a really good game. But Lewis at his price, it doesn't hurt me as much. But realistically, City aren't. They're going through a wobble at the moment, and defensively, this whole season, clean sheet wise, Prans, it's not been great, has it?
No, but look, I would say Rico Lewis. If you're talking about him, he when he starts, he's more than just a defender, right? So you get
Yeah,
access to a team that on their day can still have a clean sheet. Like I'm completely with you that they have tapered off quite significantly
yeah,
without Rodri, and just the style, right? I mean, he's overcommitting. He doesn't. So the main change this year with City is that the wingers are not Bernardo Silva and Grealish, right? Because when you overcommit your defenders, you can't lose the ball.
yeah,
This is why Klopp's football was
yeah.
rock and roll. They were
Yes,
like, yeah,
yeah.
we won't have Bernardo Silva. We'll have Salah. We'll instead of Grealish, we'll have Diaz. So if they give up the ball, we'll just all run back and we'll be chasing. And so you gave up a lot of chances, but you had Allison who bailed you out.
Yeah,
But
that's the
in
truth of it.
yeah, so in this case, now that you're moving into a a Savio and a Doku era, then you give up the ball a lot, and then the opponents counter, and then you're always chasing, and City concede. So I think it's going to happen a lot more. So uh, but Rico Lewis, like I said, he got the assist. He didn't
Yeah, yeah,
over midweek. He almost got the assist in the cameo that he had over the weekend. I don't
yeah.
think he's bad. Like
I don't think it's a
still
bad one,
playable.
Prez. I'm in agreement with you. If I mentioned it as a discussion point because quite a lot, like you, for example, have double City. Some have the goal scoring machine beside him, Vardy, for example. So that's maybe more where the discussion is. But from my perspective, a one City coverage and a cheap one at that, I'm not too upset there. The game against Sporting was so unlike City. As your new manager, a good audition for you guys, Perez, was
Mm.
so unlike City. Like you just explained a minute ago, every time they lost the ball, the striker was just 1v1. Like one through ball. It's very strange. I was watching it thinking, this is not a Pep team, but yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. It's pretty bad. The attacking part of it's still okay, but the defensive part of it is definitely off, way off.
It
So
is.
Gabriel, I'm playing him. Even though it's a difficult fixture, even though Arsenal, as well as Man City, have maybe a tiny little wobble, or maybe I'm being harsh. They've conceded
But
recently.
Arsenal, I have a different view. You see, City is a case of okay, De Bruyne will come back, but De Bruyne won't change them defensively as much.
No,
I think City
no,
have got a problem just the way that they're playing, that they're giving up
yeah,
a lot of chances. I think with Arsenal, the difference is the first 10 game weeks, they've either had red cards or really tough away games. So
agreed.
therefore their data for me, doesn't tell much. And they, on the other hand, are getting Odegaard back, Rice back. And if you add those two to the Champions League team that played midweek that lost to Inter, then that's their full strength 11. Like that's the
Yeah,
11 that they would have. Maybe Califiori could make could have a say, but
yeah,
Timber, Gabriel, Saliba, White, that's their back line. Like that's a stable back line. So
and
I expect them to be okay.
I agree, Prez. Yeah, I was just going to add to what you
Defensively.
said. And even if you watch them against Inter Milan, the goal they did concede was a really terrible penalty, a
Mm,
really bad penalty. I saw another one this weekend. I can't remember who it was. Was it against Manchester City? But anyway, terrible penalty. So you could argue it would have been a 0-0, a clean sheet. I mean, and the second half it was pure Arsenal. They just couldn't break through that Inter Milan defense. So I agree with you. They're not. It's a different situation to City, without a doubt. In fact, Arsenal are struggling a little bit in attack at the moment, a
right.
little bit as well, just a little bit. Where City's attacking numbers, still good, but the defensively, yeah. So that's the back four. I've got Mikalenko if I needed him, but I'm happy to start these three instead of him. Now moving into midfield where there's talking points. So first of all, Palmer, you could see he's highlighted yellows, potentially injured. What do you think of that, first of all, Praz? I know we haven't had concrete news. We've seen clips of him walking around today.
Mm.
at the match. But what's your opinion? He starts this game?
Yeah, I think so. It's Arsenal, man. It's a home
Yeah,
game to
yeah,
Arsenal,
yeah,
and he got a little bit of a gash. He's been walking around, like you said, today at the stadium. I think he'll be fine. Like, I think it's a little bit of mind games, like what Arteta does. And he's been selected for England. That's a very important thing as well.
it is.
So
Yeah,
yeah, of course, if the injury is bad, then England he will withdraw from England, but only if he doesn't play Arsenal, right? So if Chelsea want him to rest over the international break, they want him to miss the Arsenal game. I don't think they will do that. Like it's a very important game for Chelsea.
yeah, I'm in agreement with you, Praz. I think, especially before international break, and the way Chelsea are turning things around, they're improving. This could be a big statement just before the international break to set them up nicely for the Christmas period. So I'm in agreement. This will be a full power Chelsea team headed up by Palmer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too much of an opportunity for. Yeah, I'm in agreement. But I will come back to him because one of the dilemmas I've got, Praz, I want to discuss with you is with Palmer. But let me go forward. So Foden, recently, it looks, if you just looked at the points, it looks like an idiotic pick, like I've messed up. But his numbers have been good.
Nah,
He's
it's not
dodged.
an idiotic pick, man.
I
He
know,
went for
Praz, but
upside and it didn't work out. It
the way
happens.
he's dodged the points though, Praz. I watched him in even against Sporting, where he did get a goal. To be fair, he had a couple of more chances in the Premier League games. He had good chances. It's a weird one. That one, to be fair, it's gone wrong. Like you said, it can happen in FPL, innit? So yeah, Foden starting, and then Mbumo next to him. He's been excellent. There's no complaints there. Brentford's attacking statistics are incredible. They've pushed their way up there. I know defensively they give you chances, but in attack they're very good. So to own him, I don't think there's any even point discussing him. The man beside him now is the interesting one, Semenyo, because Praz, he was at one stage our sort of rotation guy. Sometimes we use him, sometimes I think we all got burnt last week. Loads of us didn't play him for that 10-pointer. I think now with the fixtures, what's happening? I think he's a starter now, isn't he, Prez? Like in our teams, what do you reckon, Prez? You reckon he'll be starting in your team or no?
I don't have him. I sold him.
Oh, okay. So you've got Rogers, but Semenyo's gone.
Yes, I mean, it was just a price thing for me where I had to sell him. I think he's a fantastic pick, and I think you should be happy to play him. And in fact, because I have him, I can't bench Rogers this week. I have to decide between Rogers and DCL, and so one needs to make way. So that's basically something obviously relevant to my team, but
Okay.
for yours, I think Semenyo is absolutely fine, and I think he's playable now for the foreseeable.
Totally agree, Praz. That's the point. That's the point I was just making there, Praz. That I think now he's a starter. I see him matching or beating the cheap strikers with scoring at the moment, as in points returns in FPL. So I'm happy with him. So onto the front line, Praz. It's Raul Jimenez, my
Mm,
signing for last week. Very disappointed. Watched that Fulham game like you. He came off in the 76th minute. That was quite upsetting. He was there or thereabouts in all of the build up and attacking play, but he just had one of those games where nothing really came up for him. So it was quite
right.
frustrating. And Haaland up top, again, we spoke about Foden. Haaland, you touched on it regarding his XG earlier on, how it sort of leveled out, but he's there. He's getting shot every game, Praz, is minimum 5 shots. Like realistically, the people that have gone against him, fair play, the luck is shining down on them because the chances he gets in every game, wow. And then last attacker is Cunha. So you can see that's the move I've made this week, Prez. Just so you
Hmm.
know, I got very rare. I rage transfer, but I couldn't see DCO in my team no more. I couldn't. I just that was it. Yes, I know it's not optimal. You should be, take your time and wait for the midweek fixtures. No,
It's understandable. It's
he had to
understandable.
go.
That
DCL was just yeah. So that's the starting 11 on the bench. Sorry, I'll just finish off, Prez. So on the bench, Fabianski, Rogers, Mikalenko, and Greaves, who's out injured. So that's the starting 11 for this week. Captaincies on Haaland. What do you think of my team, Prez?
I think team looks good, man. Like I don't see any like you've made your transfer. Your forward line looks fantastic. So I think Cunha is great now for the foreseeable. Haaland is great. Um, Jimenez has been disappointing last week, but I think generally he's done all right.
Yeah.
Um, I think that front seven is great. Like next week, my question to you is: you are you basically going Salah-less, or what's the plan?
So
Where are
this
you
is
going with it?
exactly what I wanted to talk to you about, right? Where here we go. You've asked the question that is one of the dilemmas, Prez. So at the moment, I couldn't get to Salah unless it's a Palmer and either Gabriel or Trent. Okay.
No, you can't sell Palmer.
No, exactly, because I'd want him in game week 12. But then,
12
do you?
onwards, Palmer is
Yeah,
there in your team forever.
yeah, I agree. That's the reason I sort of went early, Prez. But now I'm getting a little bit of FOMO because this week the two, and we will go to to one of our stats tables in a minute. In fact, the FOMO I'm getting here, Prez. Let's go to it right now, and it's obvious. Salah and the lack of no Liverpool attackers and the lack of no Spurs attackers, Prez, is what's making me think I'm worried. Okay,
Mm.
as you can see on the chart, there's Solanke and Salah, two very highly owned players. Solanke looks like just at the right time. He delivered for you guys last week, and then today he came on. We're recording this on a Thursday night. He
And
came
he
on and got the
scored.
little flick. Yeah, lovely little flick as well. So that's the form of what was going through my head, Praz. Do I try to do something for my team to get one of these? Not necessarily has to be Salah Solanke. For example, do I do Palmer to Son, for example, Praz, and then reverse it? But then it still means no Salah. I don't have Salah. It is a full commitment to no Salah for Villa and Southampton. So this is where what's going through my head, Praz. Or do I
But
just
then
grit my
again,
teeth?
Palmer to Salah, you're saying.
No, Palmer. So I could do this week with what I've got one free transfer, Praz, still in the bank. Okay.
And how much
I could
money?
do none.
Okay.
0.0. So I could do Palmer to Son free and try to gain something, gamble on that. Palmer will have a tricky game against Arsenal, and Son hopefully could feast against Ipswich. It's predicted
Nah.
to
You're using two transfers to take Palmer out and in
that.
for what? Like Son is not that much of a better captain than Haaland.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying to you, Prez. This is what's going through my head. Or I could do the -4 for Salah, but then you're taking out Palmer.
No.
No, I
Palmer is
know.
not your route.
No.
Palmer is not your route. You either have to decide between Salah or Haaland. That's it. That's all.
Yeah. And this is where I'm at here. So at the moment, Prez, the only dilemma I had in my team, I wasn't considering any other move, Prez, whether it was for me to try and get a Spurs attacker. So I could, for example, I've got no money, but if I could have downgraded someone, say to Brennan Johnson or Son or something like that, if I was that desperate. But then I look at it and I think Foden and Haaland against Brighton is just as good if they actually deliver. And then Palmer, like you said, the week after, I'm going to be desperate to bring him back. So it's just a FOMO price. That's all it is of Spurs and no Salah. If I'm honest with you, would you
What I would
do a
do
move
is
like that?
what I would do is leave it this week. Next week. Now, this is not me recommending everybody to sell Haaland, right? Because I have sold Haaland. This is just me giving genuine advice.
Yeah.
Because I think next week, not only do you need Salah, you need Saka. And the way to do it is basically do Haaland, Rodgers, and Foden to Saka, Salah, and somebody, whoever you can afford. Could be
Yeah.
Welbeck, could be a Brighton attacker. That looks sexy.
Yeah.
Because look at Brighton's fixtures after this week.
This is why I've got them up. They look really good. They look really good. Yeah, this is the last sort of
Look at
no.
Arsenal's fixtures after this week. Look
I
at
think
Chelsea's
Arsenal.
fixtures after this week.
Yeah, I think Arsenal have already earmarked Praz away. I started to think ahead. They're the team definitely after game week 12. We need to work out, like, obviously, how we're going to get back in and which of their attackers. At the moment, they're having a small little wobble up top. But yeah, they're the teams. But for now, I'm thinking the same as you this week, Praz. It's just to go without those two and hope my captain matches or beats. And in theory,
Of
I'm
course you
making
can beat.
I'm making it sound like it's I've got a horrendous captain
Yeah,
potential. I mean, look who's at the top.
exactly.
Yes, it's not that bad.
Exactly. It's not bad at all. So don't
No.
get FOMO, but you need to figure out your path. And this is why
Yeah.
I sat here last week and I was completely, shall I do Haaland out? Remember, I went through 7 reasons why you sell
Yeah.
Haaland kind of thing. Because I was looking at the path and I was like, look, I can't sell Palmer or Saka because I already own Saka. And the idea is that I need to decide between Haaland and Salah. And ultimately, basically, I said, look, Salah is same as Haaland. Like I don't think there's much difference this week. There's
Yeah.
not much difference tomorrow, next
Yeah.
week, and the weeks leading up to it. But he's also 2.5 million cheaper.
Yes.
So you can then later on get, like, I could get Isak next week in my team. I could get Trent in a couple of weeks. So that then basically tells me that, look, long term, if both are the same, then why bother? Like, why am I bothering with this player that is in a team that is out of form, whereas there's this other team that is smashing teams 4-0, they're at home. Like, the other concern I have with Haaland this week is it's his 4th away game in a row,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Remember I talked about that
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
week as
Yeah.
well as one of
Yep.
the
Yep.
factors. So they have lost 3 of those away games. This is the 4th of them.
It's the first
So
time 3 games in a
yeah.
row. Yeah. Since 2018.
So I don't think there's a panic to sell Haaland at all, but I think you need to really evaluate where you want to take your team in the future. And if you're happy, you can't. Then you're happy. Like, I have Haaland FOMO, but I'm not sitting here with FOMO because I've made my decision. I'm
Yeah.
not going to have
Yeah.
Haaland.
Now you've committed. That's it.
Haaland can get a brace, can get a hat trick, and Salah can blank, and I will say, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you have to have the same attitude if you're going Haaland and not Salah. Simple.
And can I be honest with you, Praz? I think it's because the combination of the last couple of game weeks of what's happened, it's the outcome basically swaying me a little. But I'm in agreement. That's why I've not made the move. I just thought I wanted to discuss it with you. But
Mm.
I'm totally in agreement. I'm fully. What would worry me more about Haaland, Praz, is if the chances weren't coming.
Mm.
But the chances are coming. Man City is a team that produces, even though, yes, at the moment they're fragile. It's 5 shots a game minimum, Praz. I watched him against Sporting. He should have. People, when you look at the result, it looks like Man City just got smashed to pieces. They should have won the game in the first half. People,
Yeah.
when you watch the game, if that makes sense, Praz, what I'm saying, the chances are there. So that I'm not too worried. He just needs to put them away.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
So I think I am in agreement with you, Praz, hence why that move is not being made. I just wanted to sound you out. And I think, actually, while you're on that, I wanted to ask you, so what is your plan? When are you going back to Haaland, Praz? Or is that you just waiting until you see?
When I looked at the captaincy ticker, if I
Yeah.
look at it in front of you, you have it open. Man City, this week, I like Salah. Next week, Salah's playing Southampton, so I like Salah.
Yeah.
The week after, they play each other, and Liverpool are at home. So again, I think they're similar. I think I won't captain either, but I still am happy with Salah over Haaland. Game week 14 is the first week where Haaland starts to get better. So I
Yeah.
think Haaland home to Nottingham Forest is better than Salah away to Newcastle. But then you go after that, Man City away to Crystal Palace versus Liverpool away to Everton. I like Salah.
Yeah.
Then Man City home to Man United, Liverpool home to Fulham. I like Salah. So basically, in the foreseeable, I'm not seeing a week where I have to make the reverse switch. I'm open to making it. Like, I could do
Yeah.
Haaland,
Yeah.
Solanke back to Salah, Solanke back to cheap midfielder and back up to Haaland. But I'm not seeing the need right now. And I think for the foreseeable, I'm not going to have Haaland.
From my perspective, I think I would, in the week, like, for example, you highlighted, so game week 12, Liverpool they've got, is it Southampton?
Yeah.
It's a lovely fixture. Yeah. Straight after the international break, gorgeous fixture. But I would possibly captain Palmer.
You could. Yeah.
Yeah.
Palmer's
That's
playing
what
well.
I would, yeah, that's what I would do against Leicester.
But this is the point. I'm happy to have Palmer and Salah, which are the two best fixtures
Yeah.
that week.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes
And
perfect sense.
and Saka, by the way, because having Salah instead of Haaland affords me also Saka, home to Nottingham Forest. And then in 13, Saka is away to West Ham. So
Yeah.
it's the other part of this equation as well, where having Salah over Haaland allows you a third premium easily. Like, there are some teams, like my pod partners, Late Riser and Zofar, they have Palmer, Salah, and Haaland. But they have got into this situation where it's easy to do. It's not easy to do in a lot of teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. And I'd have to make sacrifices in defense and stuff like that. I have to do quite a lot of surgery as well. So it's having the transfers as well, Praz. So
Exactly.
yeah, just going back to finish off on my team, actually, so we can go to yours, is I'm totally in agreement, Praz. I've made my bed, as we say, and it's full commitment. End of. And hope, like I said, Haaland delivers. And Foden. That's the one that's really been hurting as well recently, him dodging points. Apart from that, I'm happy with the team this game week.
Like it.
So,
hello everyone, sorry to interrupt your video, but just give me 2 minutes because I've got an incredible thing to tell you. FanTeam, Game Week 11, their big pick 6 is going live this weekend. There's an £11,000 prize pool, only a £2 entry, and you get an infinite team budget to pick 6 players. Now, in fact, let me just bring this up for you. Here's a little team that the scout team put together, right? The optimal team potentially for this weekend. Romero and Son against Ipswich. Look how much money they are. Doesn't matter because you get an infinite budget. Bruno Fernandes, Man United versus Leicester. Are Man United back now that Ten Hag's gone? We'll see, won't we? Our Newcastle back, Gordon and Isak against Nottingham Forest away. Interesting pick. You can see that I'm a Newcastle fan. And then HAALAND up front for Man United versus Leicester. You can pick any 6 players you want, though, and just the most points wins, right? And there's, as I said, an £11,000 prize pool. And let me just add to this, it gets even better. There is a new customer offer. If you have never played FanTeam before, you sign up, you get £10 in tickets when you deposit and play any cash contest. So you can join the action right away. The link is in the description. We love FanTeam over at Scout. As I said, let's just make it really clear again. The headlines: an £11,000 prize pool, Big Six. It's a bit of a tongue twister. Big Pick 6 tournament, £2 entry, infinite team budget. Get involved and you could win big. As usual, 18 and over. Please gamble responsibly, gamble aware, all that sort of stuff. We've got to be safe when we're doing this sort of stuff. But super, super great opportunity to get involved with this weekend. The link is in the description below. Get involved.
Let's move on to your team, Pras. Let's get stuck into your team.
Okay, so I have, surprise, I'm not starting Edison this week for all the things we talked about for Man City. I'm starting Fabianski if he plays. If he doesn't, then of course Edison will come on. And the reason is basically that it's a home game. It's apparently Lopetegui's last game if he doesn't do well. So I expect them to be a little bit tighter. McNeil is apparently out for Everton, who basically is the creative engine for Everton. And we know that DCL can't score even if he gets a chance. So basically all of them add up to say that maybe Fabianski is a better play than Brighton, who I expect to score in this game.
Yeah,
so
agreed.
It's not too different because West Ham are rubbish, but it's okay. Because I'm playing Lewis in defense, I don't want to double up on City defense this week. So that's the plan. Next week, Edison becomes Raya. So
is that the plan? Yeah, Pras.
Yeah, it's a plan move.
How many transfers have you got?
Just one.
Just one. And how much money you got in the bank you've got?
Man, I don't have Haaland. I have like 1.5
You're
million.
rich.
So money is not a problem. So anyway, so Fabianski in goal, 8 Nouri, who I'm happy to have this week. And Gabriel, like you, Rico Lewis, like you. So we already talked about those two in relation to your team. Then Bumo, Salah captain, Saka and Palmer. So Saka this week is not ideal. I would have liked to have Son or Bruno in that slot. But you can't have the ideal players every single week. Like next week, a lot of people with Son will be looking to get Saka. A lot of people with Bruno, okay, they'll hold on for another couple of weeks, but eventually they'll want to come to Saka. So I'm happy that I have that midfield. I think this midfield five, Salah, Saka, Palmer, Bumo, Rogers, or instead of Rogers, it could be Semenyo, is going to be the wildcard template, game week 12.
12, yeah, you're most probably right. Depending, I suppose, Pras, on how Haaland does. You know, for FPL managers, we're quite fickle. If he was to go bonkers against Brighton after the international break, you don't think so, Pras? No, they would look past it.
I think, look, Haaland was, for me, very important, borderline essential for those easy games. Now the games are tougher. It's not that he will not score points. He'll probably score the highest number of points.
Yeah, he will.
But he's not value. Pound for pound, he's not. I don't think he's going to be on most wildcard teams. Of course, if you have him, that's your differential, or it gets more and more differential every week.
Yeah, it does get better.
Yeah. But I just think during Christmas period, Man City picks and a Haaland pick versus a Salah pick who gets 5 points for a goal, who is keeping clean sheets. I just think it's a no-brainer, like eventually to do it. So, but this is hindsight. Haaland scores a hat-trick and maybe you change or you feel not as good about it. But I still think that's the approach. Eventually people will want to do it. So anyway, then in my attack, I've got Solanke. I'm very happy now. I mean, that was one of, when your problem becomes some like last week I was thinking Solanke needs to go in a couple of weeks, like he's doing nothing, and he goes and scores, gets a triple return, gets a nice rest midweek. Today he got a rest, came on, scored. Suddenly it's like, I don't need to sell Solanke. There's no rush to sell Solanke. So it feels nice that one of your potential problems in your team is somewhat resolved, which is why I can be a little bit more riskier with my transfers in the next 2 or 3 weeks, because I feel like I have the midfield I want. I have Cunha, who I want to keep reasonably long term, like 7-8 weeks. I have Solanke, who I'm happy to keep now for the next 4-5 weeks, especially because I can bench him next week against Man City, because Rogers has a good fixture. And so then basically it comes down to one thing, which is basically my Achilles heel, which is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. look, I have money in the bank to get pretty much anyone below Jackson. And so I could get anyone from, Hoyland was one of the choices that I was really, really strongly looking at, because
Yeah.
Hoyland has 3 very good fixtures.
Yep.
And then maybe he becomes important over the course of, Amorim's era. So that was one of the things I was thinking. But I could go down to Raul Jimenez. I can go straight to Welbeck, or the more sensible thing is that if Calvert-Lewin starting, maybe just chance it one last week, because then I have 2 free transfers and I can be a lot more creative with 2 free transfers. Like next week, I can go Edison down to Verbruggen or Sanchez, and I can go
Yeah.
Calvert-Lewin up to Isak. And Isak's fixtures are incredible after this week.
Yeah. Let's have a look at his fixtures actually, Praz, because that's actually a good point. Look at them. Look how
So
they changed.
West Ham home, Crystal Palace, Liverpool, okay, but it's still home.
Yeah.
Brentford, who conceded a lot of chances, Leicester, and it goes beyond. Like
It carries
at this
on.
point in the season, you want men who are playing 80, 90 minutes on penalties, who are reliable,
Yeah.
who you want to put in your team and not worry about it. I've already got a midfield where I have those men. And
Yes.
so if I
Yeah.
can get Cunha, Isak, and Solanke as my front 3 as well, it feels like that team is fairly robust for the Christmas period. So that's one option. Or I can go down to a Welbeck next week, because Welbeck this week, I mean, for all the things we're saying about Man City, who do you want playing, like Welbeck home to Man City or DCL away to West Ham? Like, I'm still thinking it's not too much in it, right? Right. So maybe wait a week. So that's where I am. Like, I could go to Welbeck immediately, but then waiting a week, maybe João Pedro gives us new information that he's fit. So I feel like waiting on a Brighton attacker makes more sense for a week. So
I'm gonna say now, Praz, if DCL gets you points this week, I'm gonna rage in our next pod. I can't take it. That'll be the last straw for me. I'll be
what
finished.
did I tell you? What did I tell you about
I
that
will.
digging gold? Remember my analogy?
Praz, if he does it this week, Praz, honestly, you
see?
did say that. And to
For
be fair,
Solanke, that's what happened.
it
I
did.
didn't turn
It
back,
did. Yeah.
and
It's
I hit
so
gold.
true. It's so
Yeah.
true. He really did. And he delivered bundles of gold. But
Yeah.
if DCL does that, okay, you've heard it here first, Praz. But
Are
so
you saying it's impossible? Like he's 33% score. It's not 1/3.
yeah, no, it's not. Of course, it's not impossible, Praz, but it doesn't look great, especially with his
It's not looking.
backup. Especially as the backup striker has done so well, Praz. He's put a little bit more pressure on him, hasn't he? You know, he's come on, he's done really well, and I've seen some of Daesh's statements and stuff. I mean, it doesn't mean much, to be fair. I think Calvert-Lewin is going to start this game. I still think he will and stuff, but it's just he has struggled. Even the manager's admitted it. But if he does, Praz, anyway. But so have you made one move this week, Praz? Already?
No.
You
No.
haven't?
This is my team, man.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you made a move and stuff
Last
already.
week
Okay.
I made Haaland and Semenyo to Salah and
Yes.
Cunha.
Yeah.
So which turned out great because Salah was my captain and he got me 18 points, and Cunha also got the assist, so he got me 6 points. So it was an immediately rewarding move. And the guys I took out didn't do much, right? I mean, Haaland blanked. Oh,
Yep.
Because of that, I ended up benching Rogers, so that did hurt me. That hurt me 9 points. But yeah, it's fine. I think long term, I think this is the structure I want to get towards.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Your team's in again in a good position. That midfield is just outrageous. Like, it's gorgeous. Looking at that team, you're all right. I mean, the only thing, as I said, that there's the one weakness is if Haaland goes crazy. That's it. If he doesn't, then you're flying basically.
If Haaland scores a brace, right, then what needs to happen for my team for it to be a disaster week? First, Salah needs to blank. Right?
Yeah, the captain, especially.
Because I'm also captaining Salah.
Yeah.
And then what he affords me is a Saka and a Solanke, which they also need to not do so well. Or on the contrary, like Haaland needs to do really well, and the cheap guys that people end up playing, like Rogers needs to score against Liverpool, or so basically,
them kind of players.
So I'm taking a bet against Haaland plus Semenyo versus me having Saka and Solanke. I guess that's okay. I'm happy to take that.
Yeah, that's a fair, especially
and Salah captain.
Yeah. God, the team looks good. So this week you reckon Praz? I mean, last week you said the percentage was he was just about past 50% to make those moves, and he did make it. This week, what are you thinking at the moment? No moves unless you hear some information, or you're close to doing the DCL, like you said.
I was very close to doing DCL to Hoyland, but I watched the game today, and no Man United players want to pass to him. we still look lost. Like it's not like Nistelrooy has changed too much. So it feels a lot like leap of faith. And so look, at the moment I'm like 33% to do the Hoyland move, 33% to do like straight to Welbeck. If we hear something about some striker, like João Pedro is ready to start or something like that, I'm not keen to go to Raul Jimenez now, because if you look at Fulham's fixtures going forward, like Crystal Palace away is fine, Wolves is nice, but then after that you've got Spurs away, Brighton home, Arsenal home, Liverpool away. They're not the best. I could still do it. Because this week I could play Crystal Palace, Fulham. Sorry, I could play Jimenez away to Crystal Palace, which is okay, and I can bench Rogers. Next week, I can play him Wolves at home and bench Solanke and play Rogers. And the week after, I could play them both and not have to play Jimenez, potentially. Although playing Spurs is not a bad thing. Actually, I'm talking myself into it. Maybe Jimenez is the simple move.
I was going to
which you
say that
just spoke
fixture's still
about.
decent, actually, Prez. I know Spurs attack, we know, is not bad at all, but the defense, they still free up chances. So and
But
Fulham's
are you
playing really
worried
well.
as an owner? Like he got taken off on the 70th minute, like with midweek games and stuff?
So just a little, not big alarm bells, but a little bit, Prez. I did think to myself, they need to still win, and I thought they would bring on Muniz to play alongside him. So that did throw me off a little bit, Prez, and especially as Raul Jimenez has been so good. I can understand if he was having a bit of a, not playing so well in previous games, but that did worry me a little bit. Not to the extent where I'm thinking this week he's a horrible pick. I still think he's a good pick. I still think he's the main guy at the moment, and he's warranted that. But yeah, not I'm already there, Price. I'm only looking. I'm hoping he gets the minutes for these next 3 games at least to make it
Maybe
a success.
that's something I consider. Maybe it's something I consider. Like, firstly, the other thing for people to remember is this week, the deadline is late because there's no 12:30 game. So the deadline is actually 1:30 p.m. UK time. So there's a bunch of 3 p.m. games, and we may hear about what's going on in those games by that time. So basically, like Everton, there's an account that tweets about Everton news. We've been hearing about Branthwaite playing or not. I think it's the Bobble or something like that.
Yeah.
And so if I hear DCL isn't starting, or if he is starting, that may help my decision making. So unfortunately, this is going to be a Saturday morning transfer for me. We'll see where we get to.
So depending on the information, then that might force your hand. Okay.
Correct.
We should talk about Man United. He spoke about Hoyland there. Man United's next 3 fixtures, you can see why the discussion has gone down there, Prez, because the next 3 fixtures, you couldn't pick better fixtures, could you, Prez? Leicester, Ipswich, and Everton. Now, we know Manchester United, even like you, I watched them just before we jumped onto the pod, and I don't like watching this United team, obviously, hence why the new management's coming in to try and repair this. But I was considering at one stage Bruno. But then I look at the team, Praz, and I struggle to. That is real blind faith, like you said. I mean, considering I started with Bruno from game week 1 to 5, and he was one of the biggest underperformers of the season, like ridiculous. So I was considering. Then I was thinking, no, I can't do it. I think you have to be in a luxurious positions with transfers, and maybe you've had a good start to the season, but nah. What your take on the Manchester United fixtures and players, Praz?
I think Bruno is still a great pick, but I think people need to remember the fact that they are playing Arsenal, Man City, and by the way, after a couple of weeks after Man City is also Liverpool.
Yeah,
all 3 are away. So away Arsenal, away Man City, away Liverpool. The 3 toughest fixtures in the league all happen in a 5-week window for Man United after game week 13. So I think if you're looking at Bruno, you should look at him as a transfer out by game week 14. I don't think you can carry him through. Like Nottingham Forest now these days is not an easy fixture. It's going to take time for Amorim to fix stuff, right? So I'm not expecting huge wins here. There's no 4-0s here. Like I don't think so, based on what we saw tonight. Like that Panathinaikos or whatever team we played, PAOK today, they were not good, but we were terrible. Like they could have scored 2 goals. I mean, we were lucky to win this one 2-0. So I'm not that bullish on them. And before this week, I was feeling, okay, Ruud van Nistelrooy, he's going to rejuvenate, but the system looks the same as what it was with Ten Hag. Of course, it will change under Amorim, but the problem is Amorim's first game is away to Ipswich, where, okay, he works out some things, figures some stuff out. Then the next one is Everton. Let's say that's a good performance. Then that's it. Fixtures are gone.
Yeah.
So my approach would be that don't break your team. for any Man United picks. This is why I was thinking Højlund is easy. You just go there 3 weeks and then you get out. You know, like it's not the end of the world. Then you get a Brighton attacker. So, like if you think about Brighton, they play Man City this week, but they also play Bournemouth away the week after.
Yeah. Yep.
So you could
And then
easily look at
Southampton.
exactly. You could look at it and say, I can wait on Brighton for 2 weeks and then jump on them game week 13. You could do that. And so somebody like Højlund worked in that scenario because they get Leicester and in Ipswich in those 2 weeks. But I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it.
What's your take on him as a player anyway, Praz? It's hard to judge anyone in this team at the moment because all big players have come and they've really struggled and they've looked really poor. And he's a young player brought in to lead the line for Manchester United, which is difficult because obviously me growing up, and same as you, Praz, Man United have always had arguably the best strikers in the world leading the line. And they've got a young player here. It's a very difficult ask, don't you think?
It is, and the system doesn't help him. Like his strengths are running, running behind the defender, making a run, receiving the ball. But the problem is the people who are doing that are our wingers, not our striker. And so it's a bit like Solanke problem, right? So he's not a Solanke type player. Solanke, it suits Solanke, it suits Kane, but it doesn't suit Højlund.
No.
So it's not fitting very well. But Amorim will find a way. I expect, because he does use his central striker really well. And that was my hope, actually, that in his first game against Ipswich, he will be able to find Højlund properly. He will be able to basically make him into a player. And home to Leicester is like a shootout. Like, it's okay. If it works out, doesn't work out, no problem.
It sounded like, Praz, you might still go there potentially.
Yeah, I mean, before tonight, I was over 50% doing it.
Okay, all right.
It's only after watching tonight I'm a little bit like deflated. Maybe I sleep on it a couple of nights and then I see how I feel. But the most likely move right now, by the way, there's a 10%. So let me do 30, 30, 30. Okay?
Yeah.
So 30% I keep DCL, 30% I go Højlund, 30% I go to another striker, which is a boring option, you know, like a Raúl Jimenez or Strand Larsen or a Welbeck or something like that. 10% chance. I go to your boy, Gakpo. Tell me about him. He's a striker in the game.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And the idea is
he got an early sub, so he starts against Villa.
Yep.
Then he plays Southampton in game week 12, where traditionally, because Luis Diaz travels around the world, Gakpo should be good for a start. And anyway, I think, he may even play Diaz up top because that was a system he went with more recently, because Darwin is going to travel around the world as well. So like Gakpo feels good for Southampton at home or Southampton away as a fixture. That's an option for 2 weeks. And then I get out of Gakpo into a Brighton striker. That's also 10% what I'm thinking.
I mean, that would be a really exciting move. I mean, Gakpo's playing really well at the moment, Praz. Really, really well. I'm happy. I don't own him in FPL, but just from my team perspective, watching him every game, he's playing with a smile on his face, playing really well. I think Slot said he played Diaz up top because they're centre back. Is it Tar? He's one of the best at marking central strikers. So they threw a curveball there. So that's the reason. So I don't see Diaz playing there many times through the middle. Although the finishes were gorgeous. I'm not sure if you saw them, Praz.
Oh, I did, yeah.
Yeah, very, very, very good. So I think Liverpool fans all happy there. But Gakpo's playing really well as well. But of course, if you go there, Praz, you know for yourself, you're taking the bit of the lottery with the risk of minutes, because they're both such good players. Nunes, I know he's not Slot's favourite, but he hasn't been horrendous, Praz. He's not returned goals-wise, I know. And I think
I could go Darwin as well. I could go Darwin.
Yeah, I think you've got
Darwin
the options
could start
there.
This game.
Yeah, I think he'll start this game. Yeah, I think he'll start. And Slot's
but it's the Southampton one I want. I want the Southampton game after the international break. And that's where it gets murky for these guys who are traveling to South America, whereas Gakpo is going to be in Europe.
Well, and the last time I think me and you both tried to predict Diaz and we got it wrong. And when I read a report, I think it was an Athletic article, it's like they were talking about how Slot learned his lesson, Praz, because the last time we came back from international, we lost to Nottingham Forest. So this time he was like, I'm not risking it. He didn't play McAllister and he didn't play Diaz. So there's definitely something in it. You are right. If you're using that to help for game week 12, there's definitely something in that. They were talking about he was not happy about the fatigue and whatnot of the players, so he didn't risk it at all. So there could be something there. But it's always, of course, a small percentage, Praz, is, very difficult one. But that would be a really exciting move there, Praz, if you did go there. I'm intrigued to see how you end up. Because the last couple of weeks when you give me the percentages, I keep thinking, I wonder if Praz is going to just hold tight and keep roll a transfer. No, you've been aggressive. You've gone for the moves and they've worked.
I mean, but the whole point of having a team that is long term, has got long term picks, is for certain positions you can be aggressive. So because
No, it's good.
if you look at my team, I don't have many transfers apart from my goalkeeper, maybe one defender, and one attacker. Like those three in the next few weeks. Of course, injuries change stuff,
That's what I was about to say, Praz. There's
but I don't need to chase any players.
no, you're content now with the setup of the team, like you said, apart from the goalkeeper and the other cheap striker. So you're actually content, and the other moves you will eventually do, you've got them already planned in. So you're in a good place. But like you said, injuries, or yeah, that's the only thing that could force your hand.
The one other thing, if I save, is next week I could go Havertz instead of DCL.
Yeah,
So I don't want to get Havertz this week, but getting Havertz next week sounds fun. Like Arsenal's fixtures are decent. Odegaard is back, so Havertz is going to have this free attacking role that he used to do really well in with Odegaard. So that's the other thing I'm thinking about. So that's what makes me think maybe just leave it this week, see how they do. Maybe Odegaard starts against Chelsea, which would be really cool. I don't think he starts though, gets 30, 40 minutes, but then he's ready to start. And then I get, Havertz and Saka, which is also fun.
I think the big attractions to Havertz, Praz, apart from playing for one of the best teams in the Premier League, is these minutes. You said it earlier
Yeah.
on in the pod regarding the Christmas period. You want
Yeah.
as close as possible to 90 minutes, and he's one of them. Arteta
Exactly.
loves him. He plays all the games, all the minutes. Even against Inter Milan, the last couple of minutes, I thought he's getting tired. No, just yeah, he does love. So he's a big tick there. But the Arsenal attack,
I mean, I still prefer Isak, to be honest. With the penalties, and Newcastle's fixtures are also good, and then you can basically. But anyway, that's enough on my team, and I think that's enough on deadline dilemmas, because we've gone on for 45 minutes and it's a Thursday night.
yeah, I think we've gone through everything.
Yeah. Let's do one little segment going forward when we look at Rob T's. Who's your banker game that you are definitely sure will be a win? And who's your surprise? Like, who do you think the markets are getting wrong?
I think the banker. I don't want to get egg on my face here, but I've been pretty right about these. I think the banker is going to be Liverpool at home.
Yeah, man, Villa can give anyone a game. They beat Arsenal twice last year. I'm going to go for Spurs Ipswich, I think. That's the banker.
Yeah, look at the odds are with you there, Praz. But Liverpool's ones are not too bad as well. Look, score when you're scoring near 2+ goals, you should win the game. I don't see Liverpool conceding more than that. So, and the shock of the game, I think it's not even a shock now because City are having a wobble, but Brighton could do it.
You think?
I think so, Praz.
I think Forest beat Newcastle. It's not a shock, given how well they're doing.
Yeah.
But no, all I'm saying is, look, the markets predict Newcastle to be more expected goals than Forest. So that's a shock in the sense that if Forest end up winning that one. So I'm gonna go for that.
All right. Well, what we did, did I give my shock? Yeah, I did. So okay, we'll check them next week, Prez, and see who got what right. I was going to pick Leicester as the shock, but I don't think that's even a shock.
Don't go there.
Really. Right. On that note, we're going to leave it there. Praz, thank you very much, and I wish you good luck, although you don't need it.
No, good luck to all of you, and thank you for listening.
All right. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
See ya.